huge. I mean, it's worldwide. Talking about millions and millions and millions of actors out there, and it's tough. One of the great dangers of the world we live in now.
Yeah, I just, stuff like Facebook and media like that, I just look at that again as entertainment. I really don't believe anything I read on it because it's all propaganda. But, Facebook didn't start out this way. It only shifted in the last couple of years. It used to be a place where you could meet friends and share your, life history and have somebody to chat with if you, were lonely. Now it's either trying to sell you something or it's political or other type of stuff that is totally sick. And it's not anything like it started out to be.
I think it's possible we may get back there, but we're going through a period right now where a lot of folks have figured out that when you're able to get to millions and millions of people, it was sort of like the original spamming, where you could, with the right program, you could send out an email to millions and millions and millions of people, and if you only got 1/100th of 1% to respond to you, it could be 50,000, and but those days of spamming are pretty well handled by software now, and we may get back to the point with these social programs where they're back to what they originally were. I don't know, though, just because it's so involved, and I'm an ex-software guy and relatively easy to, bounce around through various accounts and satellites and cover your tracks with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, as you know, Gary, the Facebook and others, there's clickbait out there where these incendiary posts and sites make money from advertisers for every click on their material.
Well, it's not.
It's
not just that. Honestly, Facebook back not this February, the February back, okay? Going back about a year and a half ago, when I would post something about my show, okay, I had close to 4,000 friends on one group. I had quite a few different groups. Almost all of them would see my posting. Then come about March, all of a sudden I would post something and maybe 10% of all my friends would see what I posted.
Yeah.
And then it even dropped down to about 5%. And then I started getting hit with, well, I hate to say it, with Facebook, if you want to post something off your group, like Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you want more people to see it, if you want 1,000 people to see it, well, you pay this much money. If you want 10,000 to see it, you pay this much. If you want 50,000, you pay this much. So it all of a sudden is now I'm paying for people to see my postings.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard about that. And there's a lot of that going on too. They've all figured out, Facebook and the rest, that numbers, eyes are everything, and they have decided you got to pay for the eyes. And I've heard about that. That's interesting. You ran into that. I haven't, but I don't really use social media for advertising. I probably should, but I don't.
Well, I had a friend. I almost went on back 2 years ago. They wanted me to come on their network. They are a biker radio station, on the internet. They've been around for probably about 10 years. They had a huge listenership, and they would come on Facebook every morning and promote their, network, because you always want new people because people drop off. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to the guy on the phone. He goes, you know what? Now I have to pay. Because anytime I put anything up, hardly anybody's seen it, out of all his friends and all that. And he goes, it's not cost effective anymore. And he watched his radio shows, or, it's a 24/7 broadcast they do with live broadcasts, DJs. All of a sudden, they went from a huge listenership quite to pretty small because of Facebook. They just couldn't afford to be paying the blackmail.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. I'm really sorry to hear stuff like that.
But that's the future.
We're going to have to fight our way through it.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Facebook, if you remember MySpace, Facebook is probably going to end up the same way MySpace went.
Yep. And they're just down for the count. They're not even around anymore, are they?
I think they somewhat are, but I know like right now, like Facebook is being sued out of the UK like you wouldn't believe, a huge amount of money.
Yeah, the whole European network is just really mad at them for abuse of privacy and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's selling all your personal information.
Yep. You're talking about finding them billions of euros, which is a lot of money U.S. as well.
Oh yeah. It's scary. So I don't know.
Yep.
So I tell people, you know, if you're going to post stuff off on Facebook, watch what you post.
Yeah, I just haven't had that much experience with it, but I've heard, you're the first person I've talked to who's personally run into their little extortion scheme. Of course, their point is that you're using our network and we have to make money. Well, if you price everybody out of the market, you're not going to make much money.
No, I mean, and the part I get fed up is like they say, okay, let's say you want 10,000 people. Okay, the way they word it, okay, is up to 10,000 people. So, okay.
Yeah, which means could be 5.
So you pay their amount of money, right? And all of a sudden you expect, okay, they're going to send it out to 10,000 some people. You get a report back, only like 1,300 people saw it. And you sit there and say, wow, you know, that's a lot of money per click.
Yeah. No, we did, when I was running a software company, we did fool around with pay-per-click stuff. And I always found it to be a terrible deal. Terrible. And I really have never talked to anybody who's used that kind of system who feels it was a good buy. You know, you get hopeful because of the numbers that they talk about, but eventually, as you and I know, having seen it all before, you know, if you're making all your money on first-time or second-time advertisers, pretty soon that well runs dry.
Oh, yeah. It does.
Then where are you going to be?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you could be doing a show like I do. You know, I sit here, you know, and I do it for the love of it, you know. As long as it pays the bills, I'm happy, you know.
Yep. Well, that's it. And you're not going to be sitting in a hammock. Hopefully, neither am I.
Oh, yeah. See, a lot of people come up to me, you know, and they know I'm on some radio stations, and they go, wow, you're making a lot of money on radio stations. And you sit there and you tell them, radio stations don't pay me to carry their show. I don't get any money from the radio station at all. In fact, you have to watch out, because nowadays, a lot of smaller stations, to get on to them, you pay them.
Yep, that's exactly correct. Yeah, I worked with a guy who turned his station over to all religion, and he used to charge the various ministers, you know, so much per half hour to broadcast their show. He made a lot of money doing it, but that's kind of started with religious stations. But now you're exactly right. If you want to go on the air at a station, you pay the freight. Oh
yeah, I have a friend it's doing a talk show. And he's on a couple stations, and I asked him, I said, well, how much is it costing you? And then I finally got it out of him that, you know, he's paying up to $3,000 a month per station. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
You know.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. You know how much advertising you got to do?
Oh, yeah, a lot.
You know, I had actually on my show, I started out, I had some advertisers. I had a big shave company. I had a couple other advertisers. All of a sudden, they started dictating to me who I could have on my show. If I had somebody they didn't like, they would threaten me. If you have that guy on again, we're going to cancel.
Is that right?
And, you know, one day, Wayne, this one company, and they were dropping pretty good money. They said that to me. You know what I said? Well, then I don't need you. I get enough on donations and I get enough whatever. I don't need you. Frankly, no one's going to dictate who I have on my show. And
good for you.
And, you know, and also at one point I had a major, and I'm not going to say their name, corporation that was going to put me on 130 radio stations.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the contract. I had everything here. I looked at it and I realized I couldn't pick out my guest. I couldn't do anything other than interview. And I go to myself and I tell my wife, I said, why would I want to be on 130 radio stations if it's just going to be a job and it's not fun?
Yep. Good for you, man.
So
good for you.
Hey, I kind of missed the money object because it was, good pay, but it was not fun. I mean, I like, finding people like you and everybody else. And, I know we got off subject big time here tonight, but, I just enjoy talking. So, and people get to know you.
Well, it's a great opportunity, really. I've been around enough that truly I know what it means and what you built up. It ain't easy, man. So, although you are acquiring, really, I'm serious, you're acquiring enough material for your own book.
Oh, yeah, I should write a book.
A couple of stories per just, I thought, great. So,
yeah, and everybody out there, you need to go check out Wayne D. McFarland, the Tales from the Day. And why don't you tell some of the little, you don't have to go into the stories, but what's some of the stories you got in it?
Well, I'll give you the titles. One is called The Day We Roped the Bear. Another one is The Day Kenny's Cousin Tried to Kill Us All. I told you the day we sparked a riot in Fargo, North Dakota. The Day I Ran with the Bulls. The Day I Had a Hot Date and We Fell Out of the Sky. The Day We Blew Town with the Monkey.
I won't even ask about that one.
Yeah, that's one for the ages. The Day I Was Saved by Mickey Mouse. The Day Johnny Cash Hit on My Wife.
Now, what can you say about that? I saw that. I mean, without giving it away, what can you say a little bit about that?
Well, I can tell you a little bit about it. The Gloria, my wife, here's my moment to brag. She, at the time, was getting her PhD in molecular biology from Caltech. So, and I was doing various shows, and we had done a corporate show one time using a laser. Now, that was when they were still hot stuff. Now it's pretty much ho-hum. So this guy saw our show and came to me. It was a country music impresario. And he said, hey, I'm doing a live TV show in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So why don't you come and, do your show there and, do an opening for the show. So we went there, and it was ended up with producers fist fighting on the stage because there wasn't enough time to set up and a lot of stuff. So when our part was over, and everybody had pretty much gone to the bar to get hammered because it was kind of a disaster, I climbed upon a scaffold. I'd lied about Tulsa shamelessly to my wife to get her to interrupt her studies and fly in for the show. So she was there, watching, and I came out of a well-deserved break at the bar. And I couldn't see her, but there was a big crowd of people gathered around. So I got up on the scaffold to look, and there in the center of the crowd is Gloria, my wife, and this tall guy dressed all in black. So I thought, what the hell? And so I got down off the scaffold, and by then the group had disbanded, and I went up to Gloria, and I said, what did he say to you? And Gary, she just looked at me and said, a lot of nonsense. And, it's been quite a while, but she never has told me what he said to her. And I said, really? I said, do you know who that was? And she said, no, I don't. Who was that? And I said, that was Johnny Cash. And she looked me straight in the eye and said, who's Johnny Cash?
Oh, wow.
When you're getting a PhD in molecular biology, genetic engineering, you really aren't spending a lot of time tracking country music, probably. So that was still makes me laugh. So we flew home that afternoon. But in fact, when I did the audio version of the book, I recorded her saying that because I just thought it was so. And she was serious. I mean, a lot of people just don't believe it, but she really had no idea. It was just some tall guy dressed in black hitting on her, And so, and I to this day, I had badgered her for years about it, and she will not tell me. And you know something? it's probably better I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, but can you imagine? I wonder what she thinks now, realizing who Johnny Cash is. I mean, you know.
Well, yes. I don't know. She's probably kind of like your wife, you know.